Namaste, I'm Tharun V. Bhatt, Assistant Professor of Political Science as well as Coach for Civil Service Exams at Universal Group of Institutions, Bangalore. In my earlier video, I had promised that I'm going to give you the complete blueprint for your success in civil service exams, and I'm here to fulfill that. Interestingly, when I'm recording this video today, it is 26 November, and 26 November is the date of adoption and enaction of Indian Constitution. And that happened way back in 1949, so it is 75 years complete for the adoption and enaction of Indian Constitution by the framers of Indian Constitution, that is the representatives of we the people, have formally given it a validity and legal sanctity so that this Constitution can benefit all of us. So let us move on to the continuation of our blueprint to your success in civil service exam. And if in case you haven't watched my first video, I strongly recommend that you watch that video in the description box given below. I would ask my team to give the link to it. Right. So what we were discussing in the first video is all about the basics of Indian Constitution and how Indian Constitution is important and all those things we discussed. And this is the quick learning for you before we move into the understanding. All right, so we discussed about all this, so I'll just quickly move through all of it without wasting much time. So these are all the things that we discussed in the first video. Please watch it. And then this was the structure of the blueprint. So I was basically saying that the 22 parts and 4 subparts of Indian Constitution will act like a blueprint, and that's the catch. And how do you remember those 22 parts and 4 subparts? I said that I'm going to help you with that. All right, so these are the 22 parts and 4 subparts, and now today let us try and understand how do you remember it. In the last video itself, I had given you the details about 5 parts of Indian Constitution. See, the first part talks about where are you. It is very important that you understand about your own location, that is your location called India, correct? Where are you is the first question for which you need to have an answer, and that answer is made relevant for you through part 1 of Indian Constitution, which talks about the union and its territories. See, if you are entering into civil service, where are you entering into civil service? You are entering into the state called India, and India has 28 states and 8 union territories politically arranged so that you can do your services there, correct? So you will learn a lot about different states of India, different union territories of India. All this learning gets one bracket in your blueprint, and that bracket is nothing but part 1 of Indian Constitution as well as schedule 1. We'll come to schedules later, but part 1 is all about where are you, okay? Where are you located? And then part 2 talks about who are you, isn't it? It talks about your identity. Who are you is the biggest question for which you need to have an answer. If you don't have an answer for it, then whatever you want to do in your life becomes irrelevant, because you don't understand your own self properly. If you do not understand your own self properly, then what will you provide as a service to others? That becomes a kind of a ridiculous effort on your end if you do not give importance to who are you. So who are you, the starting point is part 2 of Indian Constitution. All right, then comes part 3. Okay, now that your identity is well established, then what more do you want in order to live your life well? And that is nothing but rights. The first part 3 talks about rights, which is fundamental rights. All right, fundamental rights are those basic rights which are absolutely required for you to live your life well. Otherwise, your life itself will be in danger. All right, what are fundamental rights, and what are the details with regard to fundamental rights that you need to know. We will learn about that in detail later. But what do you get from the Indian Constitution once your identity is established is mentioned in part 3 of Indian Constitution. Now, part 4 of Indian Constitution is another type of rights called social rights, so that you live in this society well. Societal rights or social rights which the government of the day is supposed to give it to you, but because of various reasons it might delay in giving those rights to you, but it will definitely work on it, because these are kind of directives given by the framers of Indian Constitution for the governments of the day to ensure that it is given to the people of India. Alright, this is part 4, and part 4a talks about fundamental duties, which is nothing but after the Constitution giving so many facilities to you, it is expecting certain basic things as duties from you, so that you progress in your life as well as the nation as a whole progresses forward. So what are the 11 fundamental duties? All those things are our further discussions, but for now 5 parts of Indian Constitution are 5 brackets of blueprint for your preparation, okay, so that you never lose your focus.